Kai, what happened with Coinbase this week?
Yeah, Coinbase dropped their earnings of Q4 earnings plus their just sort of breakdown of everything from 2023. And it absolutely destroyed all of Wall Street's expectations. I mean, it pumped in price, number one, but I think the smart money or I wouldn't even call these guys smart money anymore when we're talking about crypto Web3, but like the TradFi money was just like, they were so clueless on what was going on. I'm going to go through a bunch of the numbers of what happened with Coinbase, but the big reason why they were so far off in terms of analysts is they're looking at Coinbase over the last year and a half and its numbers, and they're not quite factoring in what happens when a bull market comes back, which we've had early stages of in Q4, and then of course this year as well. And so I think that the analysts just aren't really projecting at that. They're projecting based off the lowest of the low numbers. And so Coinbase just absolutely crushed it. Here's some of the high level numbers just to give an idea. So first, the revenue for Q4 2023 hit $953.8 million. The estimates, $826 million. So they smashed it by more than $130 million. So that's wild. Their revenues for 2023 were $3.1 billion, which was similar to 2022, which was $3.2 billion. However, the difference here is that this year, or 2023, they were $95 million in profit, whereas in 2022, they were $2.6 billion at a loss. So the difference is massive. And the reason for this, what they did is they were able to ship a bunch of products, right? Base, their derivatives exchange or platform that they put out, and then their subscription service with Coinbase One, I believe it's called. So they launched a bunch of new products, but they did it with 25% less staff, because remember they had the big layoffs that they had last year. So they were able to save a ton on expenses. I think they reduced their operating expenses by about 45%. So almost cutting it in half, which is insane. And then increasing revenues at the same time, but also just getting more revenues from so many different products. A lot of the revenues were coming just from basically the interest rates. So interest rates are high. They hold a bunch of USDC, and so they can get the interest from that. So that was a lot of their revenue in 2022 and early 2023. But their subscription revenue went up 78% to $1.4 billion from last year. Their USDC obviously still did well because rates are still high. But they also launched Base, which now they made some revenue from. It's not a massive amount, but they accumulated $600 million in value locked on top of Base, which was a surprise, I think, to most people because it launched in August. So like in a few months, pretty crazy. And then also they stake ETH, and they make a shit ton of money off of staking their ETH. And if that's not enough, all the Bitcoin ETFs that were approved, there was 11 of them. Coinbase custodies 8 of those 11 and like 90-something% of all the assets under management. So again, not making a ton of money from that, but a decent amount. And then the Ethereum ETFs that are coming in a few months, Coinbase will be the main custodian for those as well. Potential for more staking revenue from that. So Coinbase is just an absolute beast. And most people, well, most non-crypto people did not see it coming.
Man, it's just incredible. Now, obviously, Wall Street readjusted their projections for Coinbase. I think it went from like 140 to 240. Is that the jump that it
some
made?
of them. And even JP Morgan, though, was still saying it was a sell, and it should be like $80 or something like that. Something ridiculous. I was like, wow, they have no idea what they're talking about. Like at the early stages of a bull cycle, and these guys are executing at this high of a level. Oh my God, I couldn't be more bullish on Coinbase right now.
Well, and that's not even to mention Coinbase Ventures, which is their investment arm of Coinbase, right? Which basically has a portfolio of early stage startups, companies within crypto that they've invested in. And it was noted that this was worth $1 billion on their on a previous call, I think. And then it came out in this earnings call that it was actually the cost price was $1 billion, not the actual value. So they purchased in. Go ahead.
Yeah, just gonna say. So what that means is Coinbase Ventures is like an investment firm, right? So they invest in a bunch of startups, and so they invested. I don't think it was a full billion, but something, hundreds of millions of dollars. And so what they're valuing that portfolio at, because these are private markets, is just how much they invested. They're not valuing it at how much that thing could potentially be worth. And so like some of the examples of the investments that they put in, Celestia. Celestia is probably the best performing asset that has this year, right? This thing has gone nuts over the last couple months. Arbitrum, DYDX, like the list of companies that they have invested in and how well these companies have done over the last 6 months, this could be worth 50x what they are saying it is in the earnings calls. So that's a massive little underlying thing that I think probably the market, like the TradFi market, just doesn't understand.
And then we also found out how much of Circle does Coinbase own?
Yeah, Coinbase owns somewhere around 3.5%. I don't know that's fully confirmed, but I think it was 3.5%. And what's huge about that is Circle is IPOing this year. And so again, when that IPOs, we'll see what they are valued at, but Coinbase owns 3.5% of that. So Coinbase just on all levels, in terms of the revenue they're bringing in terms of the amount of treasury they have. I forget, they were in the billions for how much money they hold, in terms of just like having their hand in everything that's going on in the TradFi world for crypto, now also in the on-chain world. And then also, owning a piece of some of the only other crypto company that's going to go public in the US so far. It's just, these guys are just nailing it on all levels.
So if you can't tell, not financial advice, but both Kai and I are very bullish on Coinbase and very excited.
They put their earnings. Yeah, they put their earnings report on chain too. So you can mint their earnings report, which I would recommend everyone do because, again, at some point, Coinbase is going to launch a token. I don't know when that's going to be. It could be years and years and years from now. But anyone who is getting involved in these early things, like the NFTs they had for Base when it first launched, something like this, the first ever earnings report to be put on chain, I don't know. I'm assuming something's coming our way in due time.
Well, what was interesting about this mint, because they've done, as you said, a bunch of open edition mints to celebrate launches and various steps and milestones that they've hit. And this one is soulbound, whereas in the past, a lot of theirs have not been soulbound. So this being soulbound would indicate even further that they might be considering using this as a potential point within a future airdrop. Over 378,000 people have already minted this earnings report. We'll put the link in the show notes so you guys can make sure you guys get there safely and do this free mint.
370,000 wallets, not people. I would imagine there are people farming the hell out of that earnings report, which is hilarious and something I never thought I would say. But that's definitely what's happening there.